after this happens. All right, it looks like we're live.
Okay.
Ooh, this is going to be a good one. I want to make sure the connection is very strong, though, before we get into this. So there's no confusion. Okay, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the next of the Life Stream, bringing you the truth about life and the current state of things and supporting you to actually express yourself as life, which you have neglected and abused for your entire life up until now. So today we're going to talk about blame, and I have my special guest, Jessica Nelson, back for more. We just did an interview where we were featured on a radio show with our good friend Haji, who is a politician and activist and just general overall mover and shaker here in Minneapolis and Minnesota. And we were talking about education, and that brought up this whole point that Jessica and I have been seeing recently, that the word blame, first off, when you hear the word blame, what else comes up for you? Maybe memories, feelings, emotions, triggers. We've been talking about this a lot recently, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
So blame is something that we're all taught as a kid, and we don't actually address it. And so it's on us now to look at how are we living the word blame, because that's why the world is in such a state that it is. By blame, we mean placing the responsibility on something else. So you blame the government, you blame God, you blame your parents, you blame your neighbors, you blame your spouse, whoever. But that type of thinking is going to keep perpetuating the world as it is. There's a change in how you can look at this, but that's what we're going to get into. We want to get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of what is really going on, because we all got to be aware of this in order to take responsibility. How could you possibly take responsibility of something you aren't even aware of? Jess, anything before we jump right in?
Really come with as much as you can unbiased and look at what we're saying for what it is and not how you react to it. Don't take the information for how it makes you feel. Look at it for how it's affecting the world. Really step outside yourself for a second, because I know we live in a really overstimulated world, and we've kind of become very sensitized and desensitized and all sorts of things. And so, let's really get real and just look at this information for what it is.
Yeah. So to start off, you're to blame for the reason that the world's all screwed up. Okay. I'm to blame. Jess is to blame. It's our responsibility to actually see that. Okay. So let's just get that out of the way. It's your fault. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to stay that way. But for those of you, because I know a lot of people say, well, how is it my fault that I got into that car accident when I was a kid? Or how is it my fault that my mom and dad spanked me? Okay. That is just what happened in your life. We have to acknowledge that. Yet now it's on us to take responsibility over it, because no one can do that for you. And people have all walked different journeys in life. And so if you, whatever it takes for you to realize that responsibility, if you could say those things happened to me as a kid, okay, sure. But right here, right now, moving forward, 2020 and beyond, who are you going to be? Are you going to be the kind of person that takes responsibility?
Yeah, so it's really interesting to observe people. They say, this happened to me. These people did this to me. I have this disease. I have this trauma. And it becomes who they are. And it becomes something that they've totally become a victim to. And I'm here to tell you, that is suppressing your ability to truly be the most optimum expression of yourself. Because you are not those diseases. You are not that trauma. You are not those experiences you had with those people. But it did affect you. And so you are taking responsibility of that effect. You have to see that and be aware that, oh, I need to heal from that. I need to, observe what happened. I need to realize things within it, and I need to commit myself to more. I need to commit myself to be more, to do more, to see that I am not defined by these things. I define my life, and I get to heal, and I get to move forward and be stronger because of it. You see, it's like being anti-fragile. Mitch talks about this. Every time that you get hit, you come back even better because you are equipped for a similar situation moving forward. And so, yes, you are to blame. Not necessarily for the thing itself happening, but how you internalized it and kept internalizing it and allowed it to keep affecting your life and not actually processing that.
Mm-hmm. And it can even turn into a point of feeling special. It's a subconscious point, but where you feel special because you're a victim, or you identify yourself as a victim, and so other people should feel bad for you or feel some type of way so you can get sympathy or whatever.
It's a point of community as well.
Yeah. And so yes, there is a process of if something does happen and it does affect you, acknowledge it, but then take responsibility to process through it. And what that means is not just, okay, like I'm a survivor. Yeah, I'm just going to affirm that once or twice. It's like, no, you have to understand the forgiveness process, the realization process, the correction process. There's a whole set of tools of
also,
doing this.
Why is it that you can forgive other people, but you can't forgive yourself? What? It doesn't even make any sense. They literally pound it into you as a child. You have to forgive other people. When they say sorry, you say, I forgive you. Oh my gosh. What about yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You abuse yourself more than you abuse anybody else. Mm-hmm. Forgive yourself, but you first have to realize what you're forgiving yourself for. And that's a very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm. So now that's on an individual level, and now I'm going to challenge y'all to look at this too. There's a world out there, right? Mm-hmm. And we tend to place blame on it. Like there's a system of oppression that's happening in the world. Mm-hmm. And so we got to just blame that. Blame the politicians, blame the banks, blame the credit card companies, blame the teachers, whoever. Mm-hmm. Now, that system is there. Let's not be naive and think that there's not a system of oppression that exists. But the system of oppression isn't what you think it is, okay? It's actually the exact same fundamental system within you that gets off on the conflict that you're generating from the blame and the abdication of responsibility. It's the exact same thing that's mirrored back in the world. It's just automated, and it has been for generations. Yeah. So it's on us as individuals to take responsibility for it. For example, I was just looking at some research this morning sent to me by my friend John. And what we're working on is solutions for the broken education system here in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities of Minnesota. Because right now, it's a pretty ugly vision of what's happening with kids. Yep. Kids are going to school wearing masks, supposed to have to learn from teachers who are wearing masks. One, these kids weren't even learning anyway before COVID. Now it's a disaster. Kids are going to fall behind even more than they already are. So now who are you in that? Are we just going to blame COVID? Are we going to blame the school system? Are we going to blame bureaucracy? Or are you going to step up and take responsibility and work on helping us educate the youth? Do you care about the future? Or can you only see yourself in your own little bubble? So reading rates, just for example, in Minnesota, and this is one of the better states in the United States when it comes to overall how schools function and funding and things like that. But in Minnesota, they released a report at the end of last year, and it's 58% of students are reading proficiently in 10th grade. That means 42% of students aren't. That is fucked. If you know what that means long-term for these kids, even 4th grade reading levels, you can accurately predict if that kid's going to graduate college, what level of income they're going to have, how that's going to get passed on to their kids. There's so much that happens from reading. reading abilities, and that is tanking here in the United States. So if you want any sort of hope for the future, you want to have kids one day, you have nieces and nephews, you just have any general sense of concern for the commonwealth of the United States and the world, well, listen up. The answer is here. We have it proven, it works, and it's a grassroots movement. It's called TechnoTutor. We have our own business here in Minneapolis called Elite Education, where we provide any kid and family the best level of education possible, talking like Bill Gates level, where Bill Gates, when he was 11, could read tons of books for hours a day. That's what our kids are able to do. And you'll see more and more of it. But this is another example of what it looks like for taking responsibility, not just for yourself and your own emotional triggers, but for the world. Because guess what? We're all interconnected. And if the youth of today is not effectively educated, who are we going to depend on when we're old and frail, right? So it's really seeing this bigger picture, and who are you in it? Now, do you need to be an educator on the front lines working with kids? No. I mean, I would encourage it. But if you're not even stable within yourself, you shouldn't be around kids. But now, look at it like this. It takes money to make change too. So if you're working a desk job, or you're just barely making ends meet, okay, that's where you're at. And it's not to judge or blame you for that. But we got to get ourselves to a point of financial freedom so we can breathe and we can look at how do we allocate our money so we can start contributing to things that are really making change. I'm not talking about charity, okay? I'm talking about real groups of people and movements that are stepping into positions of power within education, economics, politics, and at both a grassroots level, a community level, and then at a world or a national and a world level. And that's what we're doing. So stay tuned. But don't just watch us. So many people reach out and they'll tell me or Jess, they'll say, oh, you guys are just so great. Yeah. Like, I love what you guys are doing with the group Self-Perfected. Or, oh, you guys are like inspiring. Yeah. I'm like, it's we. Yeah. Stop thinking we're separate from you. We're just a mirror to you. We're the same thing. We're made out of the same thing. I mean, I'm an individual being. She's an individual being. I can't read your mind. I can't read her mind. But we're a team.
But think about it. Think about the amount of politicians there are. Think about the amount of people who have an exponential amount of wealth. They are but a tiny percentage of us. We are the majority. We have the voices. And if we stand together, then we will make a huge impact. We will literally change the entire world. But you have to just be willing to stand up and take responsibility and stop blaming other people. And I know that's uncomfortable because you've never done it before. But guess what? We're all doing it. We're here to support you to do it. And it is possible. And that's the only way we're going to change the world. You can't just give money to charity and expect the world to change, because it never will. Because you're not actually fundamentally taking any responsibility.
So, there's a quote. It's a profound quote. One of the best quotes ever. If you want things in your life to change. First, wait. You want things in your life to change? Or are you okay? Are you okay with the fact that half your friends hate the other half of your friends because of Biden and Trump? Or are you okay with the fact that children are dying every day and no one's really doing anything about it? Or that they're developing a COVID vaccine and they're going to mass implement it on everybody regardless of the testing, right? Are you okay with that? Or should we work on changing that, okay? So here's the quote. If you want things in your life to change, you're going to have to change things in your life. So profound, right? But that's literally how it works, is you change. But the thing is, you spent your whole life automated and you don't actually know what real change is, because real change is a self-directive decision that you make. And then it's a way of then walking it into reality. There's another phenomenal quote. It's, I commit myself to show that inner change without immediate outer change is a lie. So for all you who think you're changing because you read a book, or you went to a retreat, or you meditated one time and you felt nirvana, okay? Inner change without immediate outer change in your reality is a lie. And it's your ego fucking with you.
And also, we live in a world that is overstimulated all the time. And they are programming you to overstimulate yourself. Like, drink alcohol profusely every weekend. Enjoy a glass of wine every time you eat red meat. Whatever it is, these cigarettes are going to take your stress away. Smoke this marijuana because it's going to heal all your issues that you inflict on yourself. It's like crazy. Literally, they're just telling you to numb yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to tell you right now that it does not need to be the rest of your life. That doesn't need to be today. I went to college. I went down that route. I've taken responsibility and I no longer do that. It is possible. You can change and you can move forward.
And also, when you look at different healing modalities and how some people take prescription drugs and some people take over-the-counter medication, or other people do energy clearing, or they do Reiki or whatever, if you're not physically addressing what's going on inside of you on a physical level, not an energy level. Yes, there's a time and place for energy clearing if you need it because you're so stressed out you can't even move. But you still got to look at the root cause, which is incorrect programming in your body. And that comes from what especially happened in your youth. 0 to 7, you're a sponge. You absorb words and memories from your environment. And that's held in you. You're like a tuning fork going around in your life. That's why you keep creating the same stuff over and over and over with very little change. Mm-hmm. And so what we're here to show you is that there are tools that you can take and you can apply them in your life. Mm-hmm. And day after day after day after day, you keep applying it. You get feedback from other people. You keep applying it. You keep reviewing what we talk about. It's all the videos we talk about all fit together. And eventually, you take on more responsibility. And it gets reflected in your relationships, in the amount of money in your bank account, and your stress levels. And your life gets better because you stopped wishing for life to get easier. Rather, you become okay with, hey, life's hard. Bring it on, because I'm stronger.
Yeah, so we live in an oversensitive world. One where if someone's feelings get hurt, they can't do anything else but retaliate and say, you hurt my feelings. You're not adjusting for how my feelings. And like, okay, I'm just gonna get really real with you guys. Feelings are not important in comparison to supporting life, like people surviving their fundamental needs. And nobody realizes that we have millions of people whose needs are not met. And yet we are only worried about people's feelings being hurt. We are not here to make you feel good. We are not here to adhere to your feelings and change our content to make sure that we don't offend you. That will never be what we do. Because we are here to actually make a change. And in order to do that, it's probably going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. It's probably going to make you angry and frustrated because we're going to question your lifestyle. We're going to push you to question your own lifestyle. We're going to push you out of your comfort zone. And that's not comfortable. But guess what? Life shouldn't be comfortable right now because there's billions of people dying of thousands of reasons. But a lot of them are mostly preventable, like hunger, or they don't have a roof over their head, or sanitation. Like, these are basic needs, human basic needs that we've known about for as long as humans have existed. We've always known that we need food and shelter and clothes. It's not that hard, okay? And yet we focus on everything else. So I'm just here to let you know. We are not here to just, and I already said it, but feelings are not our focus. Put it that way.
And when you see someone online saying, well, I feel that this is the best thing, or I feel that, whatever. Watch very carefully and discern, because when people get their feelings involved, usually poor decisions are made. Rather, I encourage you, and if it's a habit that people have, so just look at this for yourself, and you say, I feel like this should be the way, or I feel like blah, 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 right? Rather, it should be, it is best to do X, Y, and Z because. Mm-hmm. Or if you don't know, you can just say, hey, honestly, I'm not sure what's best here, but focus on what's best, not your feelings, because your feelings half the time are completely fucking you. And then you get so lost in it because it feels so bad or it feels so good that that's all that matters, and you get narrow-minded, and then you stop caring about anybody else. And what we're saying, you know it's real. You know it's true. And even though it's uncomfortable, it's because truth gets through. The truth should hurt. That's a good indicator that you're actually waking up to start to really change. Because life sucks for a lot of people. And we're able to actually do something about it.
Yeah, so if you're depressed and all you're worried about is how depressed you are, and you can't even move, you can't even function as a human being, I'm not here to feel sorry for you and join your pity party. I'm here to support you to pick up your life and actually make a difference, because you do matter. Your life matters. You are a living organism. You are a human being. You have the ability to create. You are powerful. All you have to do is move. Like, that is how you create. Right now, I'm creating through my words. Throughout my day, I create through my actions and my words and expressions and everything. It's like, that is how you embrace your power as a human being, is you move. And people allow their feelings and emotions to keep them from moving. And so that's something you should really look at for yourself. If you are depressed, if you are like whatever it is that you're experiencing emotionally or within feelings, what are you doing to create that? Or what are you not doing to create that?
And that movement that Jess is talking about may be as simple as leaving a comment on one of these videos or reaching out to talk with us. Because a lot of what depression is a nutrient deficiency. It's a chemical thing that's happening in your brain because of a lack of nutrients. If you haven't heard of amino acid therapy, that's something to look into. But that's what we mean by moving. It doesn't have to be some grandiose, you like go in your car and drive somewhere.
No,
it's as simple as a message.
Or get up and brush your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Walk down and put good food into your body. Drink water. Those are, and it sounds silly. It really does. But so many of us don't even know how to do that for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Your physical body is what you're going to exist in. Take care of it. If you don't take care of it, then it's not going to take care of you. And it sounds like we've separated ourselves to our physical bodies, and we really have. We seriously have separated ourselves from our physical bodies. We've cut off communication. We abuse the shit out of it, and then we blame it for all the issues that we have, instead of looking at how we're responsible for how our body functions.
Yeah. So for those who want to really uncover this stuff, we have a few different tools that we highly, highly recommend. It would just be reach out to us. But TechnoTutor will change your programming. You don't need it right now, but it's something that y'all should be aware of, because it is the only tool that addresses all three levels of your mind, the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious, on a programming level, and it works fast, and it works in the best way. Mm-hmm. Hands down, we have proof time and time again. TechnoTutor. The other one, DIP. Free course online, the best course in psychology to understand what are thoughts, what are feelings, what are emotions. Why do you have that voice in your head that talks back and forth? It's called backchat. You got to understand where that comes from in the subconscious and how you develop that as a little kid. So you got TechnoTutor, DIP, Self-Perfected, and the other groups that we have of like-minded people from around the world. We have people in Africa, we have people in Australia, Canada, everywhere that are going through the same process. And as this keeps growing, one by one by one by one, we are now at a point where we can really get messages out there of stuff that really matters. We're
Mm.
forming a political party because we're sick and tired of seeing all the shit happening in Washington, D.C., right? And Donald Trump proved that if you can be an effective businessman, you have enough of a network, you can just go straight into politics and really change things up. And so that's what we're going to do too. But our starting point is different. Our starting point is what's best for all life. So for any of you that resonate with that, because there's that little bit of life still left in you, we're here. We're ready to connect, and we're ready to support you in this process, because you can't do this alone, and you can't do it just picking and choosing and kind of guessing and reading books. There's no amount of motivational videos that will get you to the point of actually being anti-fragile, making way more money than you ever have. But in order to change the world, you got to be rich. You got to be influential. You got to be well connected. Maybe you don't have to do live streams and be in front of a whole group of thousands of people. You can be more behind the scenes person. But you got to be part of this group that's actually taking responsibility, because there's no time left to just blame other people. All right? The only person to blame is yourself. And within that, you can take a deep breath, take responsibility, and then join us, because this is the most fun I've ever had. I know this is the most fun Jess has ever had.
Yeah.
Every day we're laughing multiple times throughout the day. We have friends who care about us, who send us letters in the mail. People send us gifts. It's phenomenal what's possible. But it's because we took responsibility and we acted accordingly. That's what I got for now.
Yep.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone. Well, stay tuned. More where this came from, and do something with this.